So for today's lesson, we're going to be talking about the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem lets us find the missing side length of a right triangle. Now this only works with right triangles. And you remember when we done angles that a right angle makes an L, and usually it's marked with the little square box on the side, so that way you can easily identify that it is a right angle. So right triangles, of course, is a triangle that has one right angle in it. So all these, even though they're turned different ways, you can see that they're all angles. They all have that L shape. Now, another important thing to know is that the side that is directly across from this right angle is called the hypotenuse. And when we're using the Pythagorean theorem, this side is always side C. Okay? So like over here, this one again, this would be the side C. This would be the hypotenuse. And even though this one's turns in a different direction, again, the line directly in front of that is going to be C. It's going to be that hypotenuse. Now these angles here, it doesn't matter. You can label them A or B. This could be B and this could be A, or this could be B and this could be A. That doesn't make a difference. The only one that you have to make sure that you keep straight is this hypotenuse. Okay? So, this is our formula up here. So it's A squared plus B squared is going to equal C squared. Okay? So here we have our two sides. We don't know what C is on any of these ones. But we do have our two sides. So we're going to label this one A and this one B. Okay? So if I say 4 squared plus 3 squared is going to equal C squared. Okay? I don't know the C. So 4 squared is 16 and 3 squared is 9. Okay? So if we add 16 and 9, that would give us 25. Now, we know that if we combine these together, should have put that down here. So 25 equals C squared. Now because this is squared, in order for us to find C, we have to go back and do the square root, because we have to break that in half. So we would say the square root of 25 is what C is. And the square root of 25 is 5. So C equals 5. Okay, so here we know that line C would now equal 5. So 5 inches. Okay, so that's how you would use that Pythagorean theorem. Now let's do these other two problems. And you can pause this video and try to work it on your own. See if you can come up with the answer, and then you can watch this and we'll check it. You can check it afterwards. So here it tells us I have A. So I'm going to have, this is A and this is B. So A is 5 inches and B is 12. So that means I'm going to have 5 squared and 12 squared, which again is going to equal C squared, because I don't know C. Okay, so 5 squared is 25. And if I add 12 squared, which is 144, then I'm going to figure out what C squared is. So 144 plus 25 gives me 169. And then remember, this isn't the complete answer yet, because we have to square this, find the square root of this number. So 169, square root of 169 is 13. Okay, so that gives, so now I know that C is equal to 13. So one thing, just like I said, be sure that you don't forget that you need to square this number that you come up with. Okay, so now we know that C is 13. Okay, and we'll do this last one here, and then we're going to mix it up a little bit. Okay, so again, try work this out on your own, and then you can watch how we're doing it, skip through it if you want to figure out if you got the right answer. Okay, so this time I have a squared, which is going to be 12 squared, plus 9 squared equals c squared. Okay, so 12 squared is 144, and 9 squared is 81. So 144 plus 81 gives me 225. And let's say that is equal to c squared. And like I said, our last thing always remember is take the square root of that. So the square root is 15. So 15 equals c. That's not terribly hard when it gives you both sides, but sometimes it won't give you both sides. Sometimes it will turn it around on you, and it will actually give you the hypotenuse and one leg. These are hodgepodge things. And when it does that, you can still use this theorem, you're just going to be putting in a different order. So, I'm going to change this here just a little bit. So now, let's work with these three triangles. Again, remember it's going to be the right angles only. So, I have, let's say this one is 15, and this one is 12. Okay, and then for this one, we're going to do 5 and 3. And for this one, we'll do 10 and 8. Now, this time, we got to notice that the one we're trying to find here is going to be angle A. Over here, angle B, and over here, we can call this angle A. Now, we're still going to use our Pythagorean theorem, but we're going to have to make sure that we put these numbers now in the correct spot. So, we have a squared, which we don't know, is going to be plus 12 squared equals 15 squared. Okay, so now 12 squared is 144, and 15 squared is 225. So, and then we've got a squared. But this time we're trying to figure out what the a is. So, what we would do here is we're going to just work this like a problem, an equation, you know. Take away the 144 from both sides. So 225 take away 144 gives me 81. And I've got a squared equals 81. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to now take the square root of this, which is 9. So a equals 9. So that's how we would find that answer. So now I have all three of my angles. Okay, so let's work the next one. And again, feel free to pause the video and see if you can work it on your own. So that way you can see if you're actually picking this up good. Okay, so I have, this time I know a, so I've got 3 squared plus b squared equals 5. Because I know what that one is, 5 squared. Okay, so 3 squared is 9. Plus b squared equals 25. Now, we're going to just work our plain one. We're going to take the 9 away from both sides. And that leaves me with 16. So, b squared equals 16. And then the last thing, of course, that we do is take our square root of 16. And the square root of 16 is 4. Now, suppose you come up with a number like 108. Suppose that your answer come out to be 108. And when you hit the square root of that, you get this number of 10.3923 and so on. What you would do here, if you come up with a decimal, so let's say that we come up with b squared equals 108. And then when I've divided that, I come up with, my answer would have been 10.3923, and so on. What we would do here is we would round to this first decimal place. So your answer would be 10.4. So anytime that in this work that you come up with one that doesn't give you a whole number, it's not a perfect square, then just be sure that you round it to that first decimal place. Okay, so that's all for this lesson.